What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, and I'm bringing you guys the news that we've all been waiting for. Zach Lavine has signed with the Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk about all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your #1 place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. Zach Lavine has signed a full 5-year max deal for $215.2 million. This is the biggest contract in Chicago Bulls history. Keep that in mind. The biggest contract in Chicago Bulls history, Zach Lavine has signed. Zach Lavine, who came to the team years ago, who came in as really being an unknown piece. And honestly, in that deal with Minnesota, when we did get him, wasn't even the biggest piece of that deal in a lot of ways. Now, the last remaining piece from that one, they now keep Lavine in the fold. Lavine's going to be under a Chicago Bulls contract for the next 5 years at least. Now, I know a lot of Bulls fans have also been saying that they didn't think Zach Lavine was worth the max. There's a lot of that conversation been going on, but for all that's for naught at this point. Zach Lavine has officially signed for the max. Now, what does this mean for the Chicago Bulls going forward and how they're going to build this team? As we continue to see AK and Eversley shape this team, and even something that we've been talking about in this offseason is the team avoiding the luxury tax. It's going to be extremely hard for the team to continue to avoid the luxury tax with a contract of this size now for the Chicago Bulls. But you guys have known my opinion on it. Zach Lavine, to me, has earned this contract. I know there's a lot of people who don't think that Zach Lavine is worth it because he's a quote-unquote one-dimensional player. But Zach Lavine is now the biggest, the most paid player in Chicago Bulls history. He has the biggest contract in Chicago Bulls history, and he's going to be part of this core and the way that they build the player that they build around for a long time. I know a lot of Bulls fans as well question if this team's actually built around Zach or if it's truly DeMar DeRozan's team. I've never understood those questions because it kind of is what it is. But now we know that Zach Lavine is going to be under contract. For if there were any type of deals that were waiting to be had because of that, all those questions go away. Where we sit at right now, looking at the Chicago Bulls, and for anyone who's questioning, now that Zach Lavine is signed, why have the Chicago Bulls not used their full mid-level exception is because it would hard cap them. And something that I actually didn't think about before, even in my analysis of it, is that if the Bulls are hard capped this offseason, right, during this free agency, that would stop them from being able to take deals that may send them further into the tax during the season. So while, yes, the Chicago Bulls are trying to avoid that luxury tax, it does seem like they're trying to avoid hard capping themselves. It also does maintain some cap flexibility by not using the full mid-level exception before you get into the season. Like I said, if a deal does present itself, or if the Bulls are working on a trade right now that is going to drastically increase their salary cap, it would make sense not to use the mid-level exception. Now, again, do we use that to excuse missing out on better players? No, I'm not saying that at all. But maybe AK and Eversley are working on something. Another thing that's come out as well since the last episode is that it seems like Danilo Gallinari is going to be signing with Boston over the Chicago Bulls. So as they pivot to bringing more shooting to this team and looking at a free agency in which a lot of players have already signed, how do the Bulls address that wing, right? How do they address the need for shooting on this team? What else does AK and Eversley have up their sleeve? All those questions hopefully are going to be answered now shortly thereafter. Big ship has fallen in Zach Lavine. We know Andre Drummond, Danilo Gallinari is not going to be becoming a Chicago Bull. Yusuf Nurkic as well. We'll get into that. But what happens, I want to know from you guys down below, what shooters left out there would you like to see the Chicago Bulls go out and pursue now that Danilo Gallinari seems like he's going to be signing with Boston? Now, just other deals around the NBA that we got. Yusuf Nurkic did sign a $70 million 4-year deal to stay in Portland. As that team has kind of retooled a lot, it makes sense for them to keep the players that they can re-sign to go over the salary cap with. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's happening. We already talked about what's going on with that. It looks like Otto Porter Jr. has reached an agreement with the Toronto Raptors on a 2-year deal with the player option in that last deal. So that's somebody who I had mentioned could be on the Bulls' radar to add some defense, add some shooting if everything fell by the wayside. But it looks like Otto Porter Jr. is also going to Toronto with another former Bull, Thad Young, who we were hoping that they would bring back. Options are dwindling down for the Chicago Bulls to add some shooting to this team at any position. We'll see what happens. It looks like Bol has as well agreed to a deal with the Orlando Magic after they sign. Also, Mo Bamba, they're going to be extremely big down there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in all this, right? A lot of chips are still falling with the NBA. A lot still left to fall as well. But yeah, it's going to be extremely interesting. It looks like also Mitchell Robinson has agreed to a 4-year, $60 million contract with the New York Knicks. They already signed Isaiah Hartenstein, so they're going to be, their front line is completely solidified at this point. A lot of deals going down right now in the NBA in day 2 of free agency. We still have major chips in like DeAndre Ayton in the fall, things like that. I want to know who you guys think that the Bulls should continue to go after. But that is it for me on this emergency episode. Zach Lavine is signed. He's going to be a Chicago Bull for a very long time, and I know there are some Bulls fans who are not happy with that. But me, I'm happy with it. Zach Lavine is a great piece to build around, and how you build that team with Zach Lavine, especially if you can get Lonzo Ball healthy, that backcourt is solidified right there. Zach was a better defender with Alonzo Ball on the court. We still have Ayo Dosunmu here, who's going to get an extension next season as well. We'll see what happens. But that is it for this episode of Chicago Bulls Central. I'm glad to be able to bring you guys this news. Make sure you follow the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text or voicemail for the mailbag episode, which airs tomorrow, the number to do so 773-270-2799. Like I like to end every episode on. Go Bulls. Love you guys. See red. Zach Lavine is a Chicago Bull. Like I like to end everything on. I love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.